Hey man, the modern world doesn't reward sensitivity, it punishes it. Everywhere you look, people are performing emotions they don't actually feel, trying to manipulate attention, affection, or control. And the ones who stay reactive, the ones who wear their hearts on their sleeves, are the first to be taken advantage of. That's why the man who can feel deeply but express calmly has already won half the game. Because, let's be honest, in relationships today, emotion isn't connection anymore. It's leverage. The one who stays composed automatically holds the power. The one who reacts first loses it. Most men don't realize that the modern dating dynamic runs on emotional imbalance. She tests, you respond. She withdraws, you chase. She provokes, you explain. And every time you react, you lose ground. The key isn't detachment from feeling, it's detachment from outcome. You can tell a man's strength by how little he lets chaos dictate his behavior. Most people are loud when they're threatened, impulsive when they're uncertain, desperate when they're afraid of losing someone. But the man who stays still while the world tries to shake him, he becomes magnetic. He becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability is the foundation of mystery, and mystery is what drives attraction. When you start mastering emotional neutrality, everything changes. Conversations stop feeling like traps. Silence no longer feels like rejection. Someone ignoring you no longer feels like abandonment. You see behavior for what it is, not as proof of your worth, but as data about theirs. You start to observe instead of internalize, respond instead of react. That's what modern strength looks like. Calm dominance. Most men confuse numbness with control, but numbness is avoidance. It's fear hiding behind apathy. Real composure isn't about shutting down feelings, it's about mastering them. It's the art of feeling everything but showing nothing until it serves a purpose. It's being aware of emotion without being enslaved by it. The moment you stop reacting impulsively, you become the rarest thing in the dating world, emotionally grounded. The truth is, most people today thrive on chaos. They crave emotional drama because it validates their importance. They want reactions, anger, jealousy, pursuit, anything that proves they still have your attention. But when you stay unshaken, you deny them the one currency they depend on, control over your state of mind. That's when they start to lose interest in manipulating you, because they can't. In modern dating, calmness feels like danger to emotionally unstable people. They interpret your silence as arrogance, your patience as indifference, your focus as disinterest. But what they don't understand is that you're not avoiding them, you're protecting your peace. You've learned that losing composure is the fastest way to lose leverage, and leverage in any relationship decides who leads. When you stop giving emotional overreactions, people start revealing who they really are. Without the drama to feed off, their true intentions surface. The woman who used to test your boundaries will get frustrated when you don't play her game. The one who thrived on attention will grow restless when you don't validate her ego. But the one who's emotionally mature will respect your calm, because peace recognizes peace. You'll notice how much clearer everything becomes when emotion doesn't cloud your vision. You stop assuming, stop fantasizing, stop overanalyzing every word or action. You no longer build illusions about potential. You study patterns. You start valuing consistency over chemistry. You realize that love isn't supposed to feel like adrenaline. It's supposed to feel like balance. People will test your neutrality because they mistake it for weakness. They'll try to poke at you, push your buttons, see if they can still make you react. That's the game. Emotional warfare disguised as intimacy. But you'll notice something. The more you refuse to react, the faster they expose their own instability. The less you feed chaos, the faster it consumes itself. That's how quiet power works. Being emotionally composed doesn't mean being unfeeling. It means you've seen what happens when emotion controls you, the mistakes you make, the apologies you shouldn't have given, the people you shouldn't have chased. It means you've learned the difference between responding from peace and reacting from fear. And once you've seen that difference, you can never go back to impulsivity again. This mindset changes how you communicate. You stop explaining yourself to people who twist your words. You stop defending your intentions to those committed to misunderstanding them. You stop arguing about things that don't need resolution. You understand that silence isn't surrender, it's protection. Every word you don't say becomes a brick in the wall between your peace and their chaos. What used to trigger you now teaches you. When someone tries to provoke emotion, you study the pattern. You observe what they need from your reaction. You learn how emotional games work. They're not about truth, they're about control. When you understand that, you become impossible to manipulate. The less predictable your emotions are, the less control anyone has over you. And this isn't just about women, it's about life. Business, friendships, family, everything operates on emotional energy. The more reactive you are, the easier you are to exploit. The calmer you are, the more power you hold. You stop chasing approval and start commanding respect. You stop being the loudest in the room and start being the most observed. When you start walking in that stillness, people feel it. They can sense it in your tone, your posture, your eyes. You don't need to raise your voice to command authority. You don't need to defend yourself to prove confidence. Your energy says it all, composed, grounded, unreadable, and in a world obsessed with exposure, mystery becomes magnetic. You'll also notice that attraction changes. When you stop reacting emotionally, women stop seeing you as predictable. Predictability kills desire. Emotional control, on the other hand, creates tension, not toxic tension, but the kind that says, "I'm not easily moved." That's what fascinates people. You become the challenge in a sea of validation. At first, they'll test you harder. The silence will bother them. They'll try to make you jealous, guilt you, or question your care. But the moment you remain calm, something shifts. They lose emotional leverage. Because now, they're the ones reacting. And whoever reacts first loses influence. You become the mirror reflecting their emotional chaos back at them. The strongest men are not the loudest, but the quietest in the room. They don't announce boundaries, they enforce them silently. They don't seek control, they embody it. They don't chase approval, they attract respect naturally. Because people sense when a man isn't moved by external noise, he's centered, and that's the rarest energy in the world. The modern world thrives on overexposure. Everyone's emotions are public property. Social media rewards confession, outrage, impulsivity. But when you stay private, when you keep your emotions to yourself, you become untouchable. People can't use what they can't read. The less they know about what moves you, the harder it becomes for them to manipulate you. That's why emotional neutrality isn't detachment, it's discipline. It's the daily decision to choose logic over impulse, patience over reaction, silence over noise. It's learning to sit with discomfort without broadcasting it to the world. That's the foundation of real masculinity, composure under emotional pressure. You start to see emotional control as self-respect. You no longer give people access to your mood just because they demand it. You stop explaining your standards. You stop apologizing for your boundaries, because the truth is, a man who can't control his emotional responses will always be controlled by someone else's. Once you learn this, the dating world becomes predictable. You start seeing patterns, tests disguised as affection, withdrawal disguised as self-respect, manipulation disguised as honesty. But instead of reacting, you observe. You let people show you who they are through consistency, not performance. You stop being impressed by words and start being drawn to actions. Most women are not used to men who stay composed. They're used to attention-driven behavior, the man who overtexts, over-explains, over-pursues. When you're the opposite, it confuses them. Your lack of reaction forces them to reflect. It breaks the pattern of control. You become the calm they can't manipulate, and that calm becomes attraction. Stillness doesn't mean passivity. You can be assertive without aggression, confident without arrogance, kind without being naive. The key is presence. When you control your internal world, you start controlling your external one. People adjust their energy around yours, not the other way around. That's the unspoken influence of a centered man. You start speaking less because you realize silence speaks louder. You start smiling less because you don't need to perform happiness. You stop reacting to provocation because you see it as bait. You move from being emotionally available to being emotionally aware, and awareness is what separates leaders from followers. When you finally understand this, peace stops feeling boring. You start preferring quiet nights over chaotic company. You choose solitude over inconsistency. You realize that emotional stillness isn't emptiness, it's strength preserved. The more energy you save by not overreacting, the more focus you have for your purpose. And this is where you'll notice something powerful. Emotional neutrality amplifies attraction. because in a world where everyone's desperate to be understood, the one who doesn't seek validation stands out. You're not cold, you're rare. You're not distant, you're disciplined. And discipline in an emotional world is irresistible. It's not that you don't care, it's that you care selectively. You no longer pour emotion into everyone. You choose who earns your vulnerability. You don't hide your heart, you guard it, because you've learned that access is privilege, not right. And that mindset alone filters out 90% of emotional chaos from your life. People will call you unemotional when they can't manipulate you. They'll say you're distant when you're simply discerning. They'll say you're detached when you're just disciplined. That's how the emotionally weak interpret strength, through the lens of their own instability. But you'll stop explaining. You'll let your composure speak for you. Eventually, your calmness becomes a reputation. People approach you differently. They speak more carefully. They test you less, because calm energy forces others into self-awareness. You become a mirror that exposes their own volatility, and in that reflection, they either grow or retreat. Both outcomes serve your peace. There's a strange kind of freedom in being unmoved. You no longer depend on people's reactions to define your worth. Compliments stop inflating you. Criticism stops deflating you. You exist in a steady state of quiet confidence. That's when you realize control over your emotions is control over your life. You'll also start noticing the shift in how you handle rejection or betrayal. Instead of spiraling, you observe. Instead of seeking closure, you understand patterns. Instead of confrontation, you withdraw with grace. Your ego stops needing to win arguments. Your focus shifts from proving points to protecting energy. When you operate from emotional balance, everything slows down. Your speech, your thoughts, your reactions. You begin to live deliberately. You respond with intention instead of impulse. That alone separates you from most men today, who are controlled by every emotion that passes through them like waves. This level of control builds respect, not just from others, but from yourself. You start trusting your judgment again. You stop second-guessing decisions made in peace, because emotion clouds logic, calm sharpens it. The man who can think clearly under pressure can't be outplayed. Modern dating isn't about romance anymore. It's about control. It's about who can stay grounded while the other tries to create chaos. But the man who stops participating in emotional games becomes ungameable. He's not cold, he's centered. He's not detached, he's self-sufficient. He doesn't chase, he chooses. You stop taking every shift personally. When someone pulls away, you let them. When someone tries to provoke, you stay still. When someone tests, you don't perform. That silence becomes your greatest filter, because people who thrive on drama will always abandon peace. And peace is the only thing you now protect above all. You start noticing how emotion has become currency. The world trades inattention. Whoever can make you feel the most wins your focus. That's why emotional control is wealth. The less you react, the richer you become, because now you decide where your energy goes, not anyone else. And ironically, the moment you stop reacting emotionally, you start connecting more authentically, because now your interactions aren't based on fear or validation, they're based on choice. You're no longer driven by anxiety, you're guided by alignment. And that shift makes every relationship in your life healthier. This calmness also changes how you deal with conflict. You don't argue, you assess, you don't explode, you explain once, then exit. You stop needing the last word. You understand that energy spent proving your side is energy stolen from your mission. You choose peace over ego, and that's what real maturity looks like. As your composure deepens, so does your focus. You start accomplishing more because distractions lose their hold. Emotional chaos used to slow you down. Now it can't touch you. You start walking through situations that used to destroy you. Calm, deliberate, unmoved. You've become the eye of the storm. And then, one day you'll realize that what you once called emotionless is actually mastery. It's the ability to feel without acting on impulse, to care without collapsing, to listen without reacting. That's when you'll understand. Peace isn't found in the absence of emotion, it's found in control over it. You'll see that this mindset doesn't make you robotic, it makes you rare. Because in a world where everyone's addicted to reaction, your stillness becomes power. You're not suppressing emotion, you're channeling it, turning pain into patience, anger into precision, heartbreak into hunger. Eventually, you'll become addicted to that inner quiet. You'll start craving calm instead of chaos, presence instead of attention. You'll realize that the fewer emotions you broadcast, the more mysterious you become, and mystery keeps people guessing, respecting, and chasing. The irony is, the calmer you become, the louder your presence feels. You don't demand attention, you command it, because confidence that doesn't need validation radiates from silence. That's the kind of power that can't be faked and can't be ignored. You'll attract people who want to understand you, not manipulate you. Women who crave peace, not validation. People who appreciate the rare quietness of your energy in a world full of noise. You'll realize that the less you react, the higher your value becomes, because control is the rarest form of confidence. Every situation that used to drain you will now sharpen you. You'll stop losing energy to chaos and start converting it into focus. You'll stop seeking emotional highs and start creating emotional depth. You'll understand that true masculinity isn't about domination, it's about mastery. The man who controls himself can lead anything, a relationship, a business, a life, because control breeds clarity, and clarity breeds success. You'll become the man people look to for guidance, not because you're loud, but because you're stable. Your peace will become the gravity that grounds others. That's when you realize emotional neutrality isn't the absence of love, it's the protection of it. You're not rejecting emotion, you're refining it. You're filtering noise so only truth passes through. And in doing that, you start experiencing love differently, calmer, cleaner, deeper. You'll look back one day and realize every time someone called you emotionless, they were really saying, "I can't control you anymore." And you'll smile, not in pride, but in peace. Because you finally understand that not everything deserves a reaction, and not every battle deserves your fire. So stay calm, brother. Let silence be your armor and presence be your weapon. In a world that worships chaos, serenity is rebellion. And in the battlefield of modern connection, the man who feels deeply but moves slowly, who loves with balance and reacts with wisdom, always wins in the end.